All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to AmpleScramble. Appreciate you visiting this YouTube channel here. And just want to give a shout out to a few YouTubers out there from the Motor City that do a great job as far as the videos they put up and staying consistent and keeping you on top of Detroit sports. One of them is at the top is Motor City Sports Talk. Great videos. He stays on it. I mean, when it's concerning the Pistons, or if it's concerning the Detroit Lions, he said before he doesn't really follow the baseball and the hockey. I understand that, but he does a great job of staying on top of things. So make sure you check out his channel if you're a Detroit sports fan. A lot of good information, up to the minute information. Dose of Dion is another one. He's pretty good when it comes down to the Detroit Lions as well, and the Detroit Pistons. And there's quite a few, but those are two that come to my head. You got Everything King. He's pretty cool too. And then you got There Goes Mobley, I believe. I haven't seen him on in a while, but I just want to give a shout out to those guys for staying on top of it, especially Dose of Dion, Everything King, and Motor City Sports Talk. Motor City Sports Talk should have his own TV channel or TV program. But in extent, just wanted to give a shout out to them for staying on top of the Detroit sports. And I know we've been talking about the Detroit Lions as of late. A lot of excitement going on there. And this video here is more of a rant against the Detroit Pistons organization. And when I say organization, actually, let me rewind that. It's not towards the Detroit Pistons organization. It's towards the decision that we made to retain Dwayne Casey as head coach. Now, in my opinion, there are three people who should never be allowed in an NBA stadium ever again. They need to be kept as far away from NBA franchises as possible. And we're talking about Stan Van Gundy, the mess that he created in Detroit, here in Detroit, and the mess that he's creating over there in New Orleans. Mike D'Antoni never won a championship. And Dwayne Casey. Those three gentlemen should be kept as far away from NBA franchises as possible. Don't even let them wear a t-shirt of any team. It's so frustrating being a Detroit Pistons fan. Troy Weaver comes in, makes all these moves. I mean, he pretty much gave Dwayne Casey a playoff team. And I don't know how true it is, but someone had put on that Derrick Rose is asking to be traded. I don't blame him. You get a guy like Derrick Rose, he pretty much comes out and gives you 100%. And out of all the places that he could have went, he chose Detroit. Comes to Detroit, and there was a lot of buzz and excitement in the air. A lot of buzz and excitement. I was excited to have him alongside Blake Griffin. And I think that they could do some special things together. But, like Everything King says on his YouTube channel going over the Pistons, he says that Dwayne Casey doesn't know how to handle personnel. I mean, Troy Weaver practically gave him a team that in the Eastern Conference, they should be in the top 5 maybe, or top 10 at worst teams in the Eastern Conference. And he can't get it done with all the tools that you gave him, the draft picks that the players that they acquired in the draft. And I'm pissed off about it because you got two core key players from the Denver Nuggets playoff and championship run last season. And I say championship run because I think there's some okie dokie stuff going on with how the Lakers, went on to beat the Denver Nuggets. We all know how that is and what went on with that. So, but I'm going to stick to saying that it was a Denver Nuggets team that made a championship run. You got two key players from that roster, not scrubs, not players that are on the bench. Two key players. It doesn't happen like that. You don't get blessed or lucky or whatever you want to call it to acquire those two players of that caliber, players that were that important to their previous team, and then get here and you can't get it done as a coach with that. I mean, Jeremy Grant is balling. I mean, he's balling. He picked up where he left off in the playoffs last year. And I'm telling you, Mason Plumlee is a steal for the Detroit Pistons. But Dwayne Casey can't seem to put together Blake Griffin, Derrick Rose, Mason Plumlee, and Jeremy Grant. You can't put together something like that. You should be whooping the crap out of all the teams in the Eastern Conference. I mean, you got a roster that's loaded with young talent, loaded with veterans, and you can't get it done. You got to get Troy Weaver, you got to get him out of here. I mean, I don't know if those guys follow YouTube or listen to YouTube, but I did a rant like this before about Matt Patricia, and in 2 weeks he was out the door. So hopefully something happens with Dwayne Casey with this. I don't call for people to lose their job. I don't want to, but you and I know, we both know, if we go to work and our supervisors give us everything we need to get the job done and we can't get it done, what do you think is going to happen to us? If you're a Grubhub driver or, one of those drivers that deliver food, DoorDash, that's who I'm thinking of. If you're working for like DoorDash or something like that and you keep bringing the food, perfectly prepared dishes by some of the top chefs in the world, but when it comes time to deliver it, you take it to the wrong house all the time. What do you think is going to happen? You won't be around much longer. It's kind of like a, I don't know. It's sickening because I love the Detroit Pistons and they've been down for a while. All of a sudden things are starting to look bright with the roster that we have, and now I think the players are just getting frustrated with Dwayne Casey and don't want to be there. I mean, he just made this a mess. Made it a mess. And he's got to go. Him and that coaching staff has to go. Don't keep anyone from that coaching staff and give them an interim title. None of that. Just clean house, Troy Weaver, please. The Detroit fans deserve better than this. The players deserve better than this. They deserve a coach that's going to come in there and get them competitive. I'm not going to go out there. I'm not going to come here and throw out names. I've done videos on that before. Just take a look at some of my videos on who I had suggested for the Pistons to hire as head coach. Also, if Dwayne Casey goes on or moves on somewhere else, I've named people as well for him to be replaced with. I'm sorry, I was concentrating on something else. But yeah, I did videos on possible replacements for Dwayne Casey. He's got to go, folks. He's got to go. And we don't want another retread or another has-been coaching this team. We deserve better. We need to get back to kick and tail in the Eastern Conference and in the NBA. We need to get back to those years where we dominated. I mean, we dominated. Every time you looked around, we were in the Eastern Conference Finals. Won championships, went to championships. You know, the Pistons, you know, they dig in. That's the culture. Like they said, what was the thing they had for him? Going to work. I mean, they went to work. And he single-handedly is ruining it. And then you had Stan Van Gundy come in. He should have never been here. That was a waste of 4 or 5 years right there. However long he was here, that was a waste. And it's time to do like the Detroit Lions and just say, look, you know what? Let's just overhaul this whole thing. You guys are gone. We're gonna stick with the players. We're gonna get somebody in here that can lead these players, this group of young men, and get them in championship contention. And I say championship contention because, I mean, with Blake Griffin, Jeremy Grant, Mason Plumlee, Derrick Rose, you got a core that's, in my opinion, just as strong as what they got in Brooklyn with Kevin Durant, James Harden, and Kyrie Irving. I mean, it's already there for you. And the only person that can mess this up is Dwayne Casey. And I did a video and I said that. I said Troy Weaver gave the Pistons everything they needed. Nah, Dwayne Casey don't blow it. If the Pistons went after the first 10 or 12 games, if they wasn't above 500, get him out of there. And we're approaching the All-Star break. And we got to get him out of here, folks. Got to get him out of here. Luckily for him and some of the other teams out here, but I'm talking about the Detroit Pistons. A lot of these teams are lucky that they're not full capacity at these stadiums. Because if we were running full capacity and we didn't have what was going on in this country, they'd be calling for his head right now. They'd be calling for his head right now. And I think what's happening is a lot of it is being overshadowed by the recent moves that the Detroit Lions made. I mean, I applaud them on that for making an effort. You know, some people are not happy with the head coach they chose. Some people are not happy with some of the other personnel they chose from a coaching perspective. But, you know, at least they made drastic changes. You know, if you keep doing the same thing over and over again and you expect different results, I think they call you a fool if you do that. You know, but I'll give some grace to Troy Weaver. You know, maybe he's there looking at his watch as well, saying, okay, if this thing don't get better by such and such time, then he's out the door. But it's just sad to hear. I don't know if it's rumors or if it's true that Derrick Rose is one out of Detroit, but that's sad. You don't get superstar caliber players to want to come and join your team. And for us to have him here and he wants out, no, I will let Casey go first. And I know people say what they want, you know, have their opinion of Blake Griffin, but I mean, he deserves to be surrounded with a winning roster. You know, the best roster that let me see here. I'm losing my track of words here. Blake Griffin deserves to have a talented roster put around him and give him an opportunity to get back into a deep playoff run. Troy Weaver gave that to him. Dwayne Casey screwed it up, and he has to go. Bottom line. Stan Van Gundy. That's a whole nother topic. I'm not going to go in on it. I did a video on that where I discussed who and suggested some candidates to coach the New Orleans Pelicans. They go out and they get Stan Van Gundy, who really screwed up the Detroit Pistons, and give him the head coaching position. That had me scratching my head. I was really ticked off about that. Out of all the candidates out there, you bring him in. And I don't know what they see in him, but that's the wrong coach to develop Zion Williamson. Why the heck would you bring in a mediocre coach? You need to go all in and pursue like a Phil Jackson kind of coach, someone that could come in and develop him, and get the Pelicans to being relevant. They have a great roster. Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, who I would have loved to have in Detroit. Lonzo Ball probably wants out. Brandon Ingram, he'll be one out soon, because you got an incompetent coach trying to lead these men who give their all out there, go through so much stuff to get to this level in sports, and you surround them with, or you give them an incompetent coach that doesn't have the same passion to win as his players do. And Mike D'Antoni is another one. Like I said, keep him far away from. He should never be hired on as a head coach of any franchise ever again. You gave this guy James Harden in his prime. All those guys that came through Houston. I mean, you had one of the best rosters, and you screwed that up. And they shouldn't even be allowed to on the premises of an NBA stadium at all. So that's just my rant. I was, ticked off when I caught a glimpse that Derrick Rose want to leave Detroit, may want to be traded. I don't know how true it is, but if that's the case, hey, I understand. I understand. And it's just sad that we got all this talent here finally, and we're supposed to be one of the top 10 teams in the Eastern Conference, top 5 from my perspective with the roster, and we're not going anywhere. So I just say, just cut our losses quickly, get him out of the door, bring someone else in. Don't do no interim coach, none of that stuff. Get him out of here, and salvage this season. Appreciate you listening to me rant. I just couldn't hold back. I don't want to call for anyone to lose their job. I contemplated making a video on Dwayne Casey. It's been a couple of months since I had the thought of doing a video requesting or suggesting that he be removed from his duties as the Detroit Pistons head coach. And I put it off. I said, not necessarily let's get this guy a chance, but I said that's wrong. I don't want to call for anyone's job. But when you start getting your players turning against you, it's time for you to go, because you lost them. You lost the connection with them. And, same thing happened in Toronto. Couldn't close the deal in Toronto. And he leaves. Nick Nurse comes in, and they win an NBA championship. And I know Kawhi Leonard was a big part of that. But you look at last season when Kawhi Leonard wasn't there. They still made the playoffs. They still made a playoff run. Didn't win the championship, but they made a playoff run. Lost several players, but he managed to keep it going. So, yeah. All in all, Dwayne Casey has to go. And hope you guys stay safe. And I'll be back at you some other time. Thanks for listening to me rant.